Welcome everyone to the Tactical Tavern. I'm your host Tomas Alas, and in this video I'm excited because we are reviewing the brand new and soon to be released Beckwith Covert fixed blade knife. With that said, let's cut into it. This is the Beckwith Covert fixed blade designed by Fisher Blades out of Montana, and this has a lot of really unique properties and a ton of research and design behind it, so let's get into it. In the package, you receive the knife, the sheath, some stickers, certificate of authenticity, a user manual, and a copy of the Declaration of Independence for the United States of America. That's awesome. You also get a band-aid, which is certainly not a bad thing to have around with how sharp this blade is. The Beckwith Covert is designed to be a defensive daily carry fixed blade. And you might be asking yourself, what is that? Well, unlike an EDC that you use for daily cutting chores, ropes, boxes, you're breaking down a lot of things, this is a defensive daily carry meant to be used and deployed in a moment of dire need. As someone who has sharpened knives professionally, I have seen a ton of people's everyday carry blades duller than a butter knife. So it kind of goes into that thought. A lot of people may struggle to maintain their edges to be razor sharp and honed up, which is sometimes advisable to keep one blade designated for those emergency response situations, which is where this blade comes in. This still certainly has a ton of EDC cutting capabilities, don't get me wrong, but it is still advisable that you leave that carry option for your defensive tasks as razor sharp as possible to ensure it is as effective as possible. Again, let me tell you, this blade is razor sharp. Every single detail has been hand selected by the designer, all the way down to the subcompact specifications, the organic medium testing that has been done to ensure that everything rides and works perfectly into an optimal defensive daily carry fixed blade. Breaking this down even further is the overall length coming in at 7 inches, comprised of 1/8 inch AEBL stainless steel. It also has a Rockwell hardness between 60 to 62 and a blade length of 3 inches in an aggressive Tanto blade shape. Some things I really like about this specific Tanto design is that it has that forward leading tip, and this lines up perfectly with the end of the blade, making for a comfortable alignment and easy targeting for your slashes and thrusts, especially in the forward grip. The tip is also very strong and robust, again, almost reinforced, I would say, especially with the geometry of the Yokote, where that proximal and distal edge combine. You could get some snap cuts for a quick pop to open up your desired medium, but it also has that forward slashing tip. So not only are you going to slash into a target, it actually has that secondary point which acts as an additional tip. So the lacerations on this, even though it's a more smaller design, maximizes that cutting performance. And similar to what we briefly mentioned earlier about it being a designated defensive tool, the geometry and compact versatility on this blade is insane. It's like a pocket chisel that you can use for your cutting tasks. Again, just make sure your blades are razor sharp, and for that, I highly recommend the Wicked Edge sharpening systems. Even though this is specified as that defensive tool, I wanted to push the boundaries of this and see how it would perform in an EDC role in case you found yourself with this being your only cutting option. The Tanto blade shape and geometry that they went with makes a versatile daily cutting tool. I love that secondary point for opening up packages because you don't have to arc your wrist like a drop point blade, and because of the ergonomic specifications of it, when you put your finger on line, it makes it perfect for just simply opening up some packages. The secondary angle actually lines you up perfectly so you can do some draw cuts and get into a variety of organic medium. Even though it is slightly thicker behind the edge than a normal everyday carry blade, it still has incredible cutting performances such as cardboard boxes, ropes, and again, that acute tip makes it great for sliding under zip ties and a variety of other harder cutting materials. Again, please keep in mind, if you are not great at sharpening your blades, carry an additional tool for your daily cutting chores and leave this one for what it's intended to be for. And that is an emergency response rescue defensive tool. The user manual that is included in this is great at giving you some tools and tricks to maintain it. It's sharpened at a 25-degree angle, so you can just match that. And again, it's expertly sharpened. I also enjoy that there is a sharpening trail here, so it is built to last and something that you can hand down for the next generation. As we look below that, there is also a guard here. Now there is a lot of force that can be generated in an emergency response situation, and this is gonna help prevent your hands from sliding forward onto that razor sharp blade. As well as in conjunction, on the top part, we have a beautifully done thumb ramp. The thumb ramp on here has some subtle jimping that still allows for a comfortable and traction enhanced grip. Now, a lot of times with other thumb ramps or accelerators, it kind of tears up your thumb. It's not very comfortable to use. This gives you that perfect blend between traction and comfort, allowing you to optimize the force of your slashes. It also works quite well for the thrust too, because it lines you up perfectly with your bone structure, and a simple pop of the hips is gonna align you exactly where you wanna go. As we transition down to the handle, it is some peel ply texture G10. For me, this is my favorite type of G10. It's not overly thick and grippy where it's gonna sandpaper your pockets or your hand where you have to grip it, and it's not that super thin like my Carta Feel G10. This has a great optimal grip, and again, the design of this in forward and reverse grip is exceptional. It might look angular on photos, but in the hand, it's optimal for a variety of grips depending on how you deploy your blade. Some subtleties of the handle that I personally enjoy are the jimping added to the back and the inside of that retention hook. But at the same time, it also acts as a way to deploy the blade both in the forward and the reverse grip. Now that's something that we have to talk about, is how are you carrying around this blade? Included is a Kydex sheath with a discreet carry concept clip. Now on the ordering website, you can choose between left or right-handed, but before we get into all of that, let's talk about the sheath a little bit more. First off, the retention level on this, fantastic. There is no wiggle, rattle, or anything coming out of here. And I like that there is an additional level of retention that you can adjust with a simple screw. On the top, you'll also notice that there is a little bit of extra Kydex that allows you to thumb ramp this if you want to deploy it in a much quieter fashion. The fold over is nice, and that leads us down here to some eyelets that are very small. You could lash it in theory, but again, we have room here for that discreet carry concept clip. If you're getting into everyday carry and looking for a defensive option, I think the discreet carry concept clips are the best. It really does a great job at ensuring your blade stays where you put it. It's not going to come out easy. To undo it, you simply just pull back to let that inserted tip go out of your fabric. And I like to give it a little bit of a downward motion and then coming up so it doesn't rip your clothes. For a defensive carry choice, this is a fantastic option for a clip because it's also going to help ensure that your blade stays with you if you get into a scuffle. It does have a slight bit of cant, allowing you to more quickly index the blade and get it out much faster. They went with that extended height for the clip, I'd imagine, so that way it rides lower and more discreet, especially in an everyday carry setting. If you're getting in and out of your car, it's not going to jam into your hips and cause any discomfort. It rides below the hip line and makes it smooth to deploy, especially from a lowered concealed stance. Very small amount of handle sticks out, but just enough, especially with that hook, that you can get your pinky or even your ring finger as well in there. Or if you go with the reverse option, you can certainly index your forward finger for a smooth deployment. Getting your blade securely back into the sheath is not as hard as you might think. Even if you're looking down into it in your pocket, it's super simple. I use the spine of the blade to ensure my edge stays sharp, ride it down in there, and it really does a smooth job of pointing it down. At first, it might be a little scary, dropping a sharp blade down in the abyss of your pocket, but it's really not that bad as soon as you see how it's done. Furthermore, on that subject, if you do need your blade quickly for an emergency, getting it back in is probably going to be the least of your concerns. And if you're really scared to do it, you can also just unhook that clip because it's pretty easy to do, slide it in, and then drop it down. The sheath that this will ship out with is great for everyday carry, low profile, classier events where you don't want a lot of steel screaming out of your pockets. But all that being said, I wouldn't mind having an additional sheath, maybe with some more eyelets to facilitate a wide variety of carry options. It's really the only other gripe that I have with the sheath is that this top area here was a little bit sharp, but a little bit of sandpaper is not going to hurt that to round it off and make it a little bit smoother. Some things that I love about this blade is how compact it is. Now, normally, if you know me, I love larger blades, but the thought process behind this is a close quarter environment. Think, for example, an elevator scuffle. You're not going to be able to deploy a 5.5-inch blade. It's going to be really challenging to do so. This, you're not even going to see. You're just going to feel it. I love that you can deploy this into the forward grip in a very comfortable fashion or the reverse grip, and it lines up perfectly with that geometry. It has a ton of EDC cutting capability potential if you were in a dire situation. But again, this is definitely more for emergency response, and it's made in the USA with a great warranty. Some additional points that are necessary to mention: carry responsibly in all your local laws and regulations. These are simply just tools. I love that it ships out with the Constitution as well as that manual that has a lot of thought that went into it, especially maybe if you're getting this as a gift for someone who's just kind of getting into a defensive carry option. It gives them a great starting point on that manual of how to use their Beckwith Covert. I have been carrying this as my daily defensive carry tool for quite some time, testing and reviewing it. The feedback I have on it is that it is smooth to deploy. It takes a little bit of practice getting it back in there. My instincts tell me that this blade was designed for a forward grip to maximize that accelerator and thumb ramp. However, it is extremely comfortable in the reverse grip with your thumb cap on there. If you're right-handed and you want that forward grip, go with the right-handed sheath because it's going to line you up perfectly for a saber grip. However, if you are more comfortable in a reverse grip or feel more confident in a CQB environment with that, I would go with the left-handed sheath that's gonna help you accelerate that deployment. Either way, there's options and there's tons of photos on the website, and you can always send them a message of which one may be best for you. I also really enjoy the steel choice that they went with, because if you're wearing this close to your body and it's lightweight enough to work out, it's not gonna get rusted quite easily. Always maintain your tools, but it's nice that you have that additional layer of protection so it ensures that it stays sharp when you need it most. Well, there you have it. That is the Beckwith Covert Tanto from Fisher Blades. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What is your favorite defensive carry option besides a pistol? And what are the tools and blades would you love to see reviewed here on the channel? I'll drop a link down below of where you can sign up for the pre-orders on this blade, or where you can purchase them by the time you watch this review. And feel free to drop any questions, comments, or concerns down in the section below. If you did enjoy this video or you found value from it, please make sure to drop a like, share with a friend, and subscribe so you won't miss future videos helping you save money and upgrade your gear. Also take a moment to follow us on other social media platforms at Tactical Tavern. With all that being said, my name is Tomas Alas. Thank you again for watching. I'm excited to see you in the next video. And remember, be prepared, be practical, stay tactical.